All right, guys, as promised, version 3.0 of the software has been accomplished and is ready. So as you can see from the initial menu that pops up when you load the machine, this has a brand spanking new menu system. What you're going to get into is the pinball tables, arcade games, meaning the coin ops arcades, the music video section, and then the how-to manuals, all from one main screen. You can use your flipper buttons up and down to access each one, and then your fire button or start button for that matter to get into these different categories. So yes, we realize a lot of different people have different models of our Ultra VP. We're going to demonstrate it on the 8.0, and that's also the version of the machine that is initially going to be dispatched. So please do us all a favor here at RecRoomWorld VPcabs. We cannot possibly get this version of the software to all of you at once. We have over 1,000 customers worldwide. We realize a lot of you have been patiently waiting and are very antsy to get it, and we will do our best to get it to you guys, but we will announce this on an invitation basis via email only. Okay, so you're going to need to check your email and check your spam on a regular basis. The way we're going to go about this is 8.0 owners and 7.0 owners that we owe the software to, they're going to be dispatched first, right? Anybody else that has a 6.0, 5.0, 4.0, 3.0, that's going to be a progression thing. And also something that's important to understand is the SSD drives that we need are 2 terabyte drives now, not 1 terabyte. So with the market conditions the way they are right now, these SSD drives have literally shot up in price by 100% over the past 3 to 4 months. And that has everything to do with shortage of NAND chips, also AI data centers gobbling up most of those NAND chips and driving prices crazy. So what we are going to ask everybody to do, since we cannot get them in bulk, we've tried, is to then, when you are invited, to purchase your own drives on Amazon or wherever you want and have them shipped directly to our address. And that address will be communicated with you at the time of that email invitation. As you can see here, Pinball Tables is going to get you into Pinup Popper. We now have close to 2,300 tables on this build, including VR tables. So VR is supported. So for VR to work, you will need a MetaQuest headset. This is the MetaQuest 3. That one runs around $430 to $140 here in the United States. Or you can get the newer one, which is the MetaQuest 3S, which is a $299 device here. So that's going to need to be connected with a data cable. Under the help section here, where you can see this, there is going to be a video that talks about all the details, what you need to buy, which data cable, all that good stuff. All right, let's talk about the arcade games. If you want to play arcade games on the Ultra, which really is not ideal because you don't have the proper, I guess, arcade joystick setup, but you can by buying these 8-bit Do controllers. They come with a charging station, as you can see here. They run around $45 on Amazon, I believe. They don't have the standard 8-bit Do's anymore. It actually shifted over to the 8-bit Do 2s at this point, but it doesn't matter. You'll get that. There will be a USB connector that comes with it, and on the bottom right side of the machine, of course, you have a bunch of on the 8.0s, you have ports that you can plug that into. If not, if you have an older machine, you can go to the back of the PC. You can get yourself a little hub if you need to, if you don't have enough ports. But that's what we need in order for that. That's what we support, I meant to say, for the arcade games to work. Let me go into each section one by one. So the exciting section, of course, first, let's go up to pinball tables. By the way, I'm actually doing this with my flippers. I'm switching around, and then I'm going to hit fire to get this going. All right, so once you hit pinball tables, you end up in Pinup Popper, as you can see here. All tables has those 2,300 some tables. Recently added has around, I think, 1,200 tables in it. Those are all the tables that were added since the last version. So now that we have caught ourselves up with all of this, it's going to be much easier to keep it up to date. And we will, of course, commit to having a new version once a year. For those of you who can't wait and absolutely have to have the latest all the time, there is a video under our help section now, under the menu, that will allow you to literally learn how to install your own tables. But please do not do that on our media. Always do get yourself an additional clone copy, and you can learn and experiment on that copy. The next category over is going to be A through Z. That category is going to allow you to jump right into a table straight up. So that's pretty cool. The next one up is called Top 100. We went based on the actual charts that are out there for mechanical pinball machines. If it existed, we stuck it in there for virtual pinball. A new category is called Highly Recommended. That is now available with tables that we consider the very best. Playlists. If I jump into these, you're going to have a bunch of different playlists. Let me show you. You have your kids' tables, horror tables, movie-related tables, music tables, which is a big favorite of that I love. Originals, meaning those are community-created tables. Those are, virtual pinball tables that do not exist in the mechanical world, but some of those are incredibly well made. Then you have your racing-related tables, sci-fi based, sports, TV tables like The Simpsons, for example, and then you just click and jump back. The next one up is non-flipper tables. So anything that has that, like bowling or anything similar, ice cold beer is in there as well. That basically gives you any games that exist that do not utilize the flippers. Then we have, of course, the adult section still with password protection. You can remove that password protection if you want. We have instructions on how to do that on our, on our support channel on Google Drive. But for most people, they're going to want that for their kids. You're going to need to type in a fourth letter. Actually, it's actually a 4-number code to be able to access that. VPin Workshop is a group of guys that make incredible tables. In fact, I would recommend starting there when you get your machine. It's fantastic. So these guys have their own category. Same with JP Salas. JP also deserves his own category with a bunch of tables that he's made. A new category we've created is the mods category. So if you go into mods, you'll see you have the Balotito tables, Biggest Mods, Iceman, and then La Ruyas and Tyson. So those are all guys that the community knows really well. They take existing tables and then they kind of massage it to their taste. They add things, they change the lighting, make it better basically, or at least that's what they think. So that's that. Then manufacturers. As before, you can go and check all the tables based on manufacturer. We've actually put the decades category up front. So if you want to play tables by decades, you can just click in here and you can see here you have the 2010s, then 2000s, 1990s, 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, and 1950s, right? So that's in here. Now we're going to get to each emulator individually. You have your Visual Pinball X table. You have your Future Pinball emulator with all the tables that Future Pinball holds. Pinball FX2, Pinball FX3, about 120 tables altogether on those. Recently played, the system itself knows what you've been playing and keeps track of that. And also most played, it keeps track of what's basically been most played. Last but not least, random. If you really don't know what to play, you can hit the random button and it will just select some tables for you, as you can see. And every time you jump back out and in of this, it's going to change the tables that it recommends. Actually, this was not the last category. Here comes your VR section, right? We were talking about that. When you go into VR, you're going to be needing your headset, of course. And again, instructions on how to use VR step by step is in the help section on the main menu, on the new menu. Favorites, that is where you stick in your own favorites. We only have one table in here right now, Blood Machines, which is of course one of those community created tables, but a very good table. So that way it's not overflowing with existing choices. Then last here we have, and then we're jumping back. Full wheel has spun around to all tables. So to get back to the main menu, it's as easy as hitting your extra ball button, the blue one, a couple of times until you see this blue bar. And then once you get over to the left twice, it says system menu. You hit your fire button or your start button, and then you can hit system exit. That takes you back to the menu. Shutdown will of course shut down the entire system. And that's how you want to actually jump out and shut down your machine before you hit that hardware power button, okay? A lot of you don't know that, but it's important. We recommend that you shut down Windows properly, and that's the one. And then restart is a complete restart of the system, so it shuts itself down properly, then reboots and starts up. All right, so that's that. Let me jump back into the menu system here. So I'm going to hit system exit. You have to do it twice, just a confirmation here. And then as you can see here, this comes back and you are able to jump to the next category, which we're going to show off. All right, let's talk about arcade games next. So I'm going to connect my joysticks next. Again, underneath the front right side of an 8.0, we have ports there. On previous models, I suggest going to the back of the PC and connecting them there. All right, so I'm loading up the arcade section. This thing is made by CoinOps, and it's a 2025 release. Has around 400 arcade games from what I understand. So the way this works is, remember, you're going to need those controllers plugged in, right? And once you are in here, you can lift the first one up. The one that you lift up first off the base is going to be your player one. And here you're going to add, you can move your, I guess this is your, what do you call this? Yeah, so you can do it with your D-pad, left and right, to go from game to game, or with the joystick, left and right. That takes you from game to game, right? If you do use your, let's see. Yes, the back ones, these two, you're going to literally go from letter to letter to letter to go and find games faster, which is neat. So there we go. Loading a game is as easy as just hitting your fire button. No, not your fire button, your A button. My bad. So again, you can tell I've been how much of the arcade games I've been playing on here, but we know it all works because we've tested it thoroughly compared to the previous version. This is actually going to be workable for you guys. The this here is then going to allow you to add coins right here. There you go. Once you add coins on with this button here, the small one, you can play up to 2 players at once if it's a 2-player game, or you just hit your A button to start the game. That's it. So that's how easy that is here. There we go. Player 1 start. This is where you start the game right there. So player 1. And then, of course, the rest of it is intuitive. You can just use your D-pad or your joystick, and you can use your A button to shoot. Getting out of a game is these 2 buttons at once here. There you go. So that gives you instructions already on how to use the arcade games. I know a lot of you guys want to make sure that that works now in our new version. So that is the case. All right, the next section is pretty exciting. This is the music video jukebox section that we have improved. So if you jump in here, you're going to be presented with 10 playlists, a playlist generator, as you can see here, and of course, launching your jukebox at the top. Not only did we add over, I think, close to 2,000 songs on top of what was there before, but now you have the ability to create your own playlists. The playlist generator is a custom programmed piece of software that literally is going to jump out into Windows and allow you in there to add and remove songs. Exact details on how to do this is also in the help section. So if I go back to main menu and I go down to how-to manuals down here and hit fire button or start button, you're going to see how you have all these different manuals. one of them is going to be about adding and removing songs. That's if you want to add your own songs. How to use manual is the one that's going to have the actual information needed on how to create the playlists. So let me jump back. Going back to the main menu is just at the bottom here. We're going to go back into the music video. So something that's important to understand, we are using a 2 terabyte drive. We have around 300 gigs left, more or less, maybe not quite. Once you start making playlists, it eats up that space. Realize that, right? Because it copies the actual songs over to the playlist folders. If you are wanting to make really big playlists, you're going to need to invest in a 4 terabyte drive. So what you're going to do is you're going to clone your 2 terabyte that we gave you over to a 4 terabyte drive. If you don't know how to clone, again, just ask or go to the support page on online, and you will actually be presented with all these videos on how to do this. So for the average user here, I would recommend making playlists with maybe 40 to 50 songs max. If you have 4 or 5 people in the family, that should be more than enough to go on the 2 terabyte drive. If you start putting hundreds and hundreds of songs per playlist, that's when you should go and invest in a bigger capacity SSD. Let me launch the Jukebox for you just to show you that not much has changed when it comes to that. All right. Same as before. Music playing on the back glass, and then of course you have your flipper buttons and MagnaSafe buttons to be used so that you can jump around. MagnaSafe is going to take you from letter to letter up here. As you can see, there's that chart, and then other than that, your front flipper buttons take you from song to song, right? As time progresses, versioning of our software, we may consider rewriting the actual Jukebox software so that it's all integrated in one. But as of right now, we still rely on CoinOps, Jukebox, and the new generator we created. So I'm just going to jump back out. And when you hit exit, it takes you right back to our new menu system here, as you can see. There we go. So I'm going to go back to the main menu, out of the Jukebox. Last but not least, like I said, we have the how-to manuals section here. This gives you access to an introduction. If you go here to the top, highlight that. If you hit here we go. Let's actually do this. It's going to load. The back, the video here is going to play, and it's going to talk about, in general, what is an Ultra VP, what is the video. You can actually fast forward through this with your MagnaSafe buttons. So if you hit the MagnaSafe, for those of you who don't know what a MagnaSafe is, if you look on the side of our machines, we have 2 flipper buttons. The MagnaSafe is the lower one, right? So if you hit MagnaSafe on the right, it skips forward. If you hit the MagnaSafe on the left, it goes backwards, just in case you want to, you didn't hear something properly. And then you have your fire button. The fire button is going to be your pause button, so you can walk away, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, let's talk about the front buttons. So this is not everything we've done for you guys. We've actually populated all the small buttons that are unique to the Ultra VP here. Let's start with the green one. So I'm going to go back and load up our friend Pinup Popper first. So when you're in Pinup Popper, the green button is going to reset Pinup Popper. I want to set expectations correctly here on this piece of software, because a lot of you guys think that this should be commercial, foolproof software that never fails. Actually, that's not the case. This is made by a hobbyist community. All these different pieces of software that you're seeing there are obviously sometimes clashing against each other. So what can happen over time, if you're running this extensively, is that a screen may turn black that should be displaying a video. No panic, okay? It's no big deal. You just push this button here, right there, like this, and see how it recycles, and 2 seconds later it's going to be back to normal. So this is something that we've done that makes it much easier than the previous version to do a reset of pinup popper. So this black button is basically night mode, and when you're inside of a table and you want to play at night, you push that black button and it will disable any DOF device that makes a ton of noise, like your shaker motor, your solenoids, stuff like that, right? It will also lower the volume. So this is all good stuff, easy to access, and it's a functionality that a lot of people have been asking for. So that's done. Let's jump out of here. Oh yes, let me show you the red button. Yeah, the red button is actually pretty cool. That is a pause button. So if you're in the middle of a game, there you go. See, the ball literally is frozen up there. Let's see if I can show you. Here we go. Let's go down and see if we can get this zoomed in. Sorry about that. Yeah, so see, the ball is now paused. I'm going to hit the red button, and now you can resume. And I'm going to pause it again. There you go. So that is another functionality we didn't have before, and that is now assigned to that red button. So after you jump out of your table by hitting exit and you're back in the pinup poppers menu system, that last button, the white one at the bottom, is going to be your, up here, your operators menu. See the operators menu that you use to go into custom scripts. And once you get to custom scripts here, which is the third last one down, and you hit fire or start, you'll have the ability to turn on the 3D glasses, turn them off, change the flasher intensity, all of that kind of stuff. So that's still there, just like it was before, but it's been assigned to that white button. All right, guys, that kind of covers the new version of the software. So I know that, you know, as a customer of an Ultra VP hardware platform, you do have choices out there in terms of software, and we encourage that. I mean, we are primarily focused on making the Ultra VP hardware platform the very best it can be. We constantly improve as much as we can. So thanks for being a customer, first of all. The other aspect of this is, as you probably have heard, and if you haven't, there are more and more versions of software out there from various sources that work on the Ultra VP. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You guys can install those. We do not support them directly, but it's out there. So you do not have to rely on us alone for software. This version of the software is obviously enhanced. It has a new menu system. It does all the things that, you know, a lot of people have been asking for, including fixing some of the tables that weren't working, like Terminator 2, Mario Brothers, things of that nature. We've tested it as well as we could, so it works pretty well at this point. If anything, if you come across a table that doesn't work, of course, you know, let us know and we will fix it for the next release. So the expectations have to be set that, you know, not everything is perfect in the virtual pinball software world. And you know, we are doing our very best, and we really are working hard to make this the very best possible solution out there. So as you probably know, this is a hobbyist community, and you can learn how to install your own tables. So if you want to become part of that, we did make a video for you here in the how-to manual section that says add removing tables, and we talk about it in general, what it would take, where to go to find the information, and then to teach yourself how to do it. We also realize a lot of you just want a plug and play system, don't want to mess with it, so you can expect from us a yearly update. If there's something we can do down the road where we can provide you with faster updates, we will, maybe every half a year, but that's not something we are promising here. What we can promise is that we are going to have a new version of the software with all the cumulative updates once a year at least. So as a last note, please do not call us, harass us about getting this version of the software until you are invited. We would appreciate that. I know a lot of you are, you know, impatient, that you want to get your hands on this. We get it. We will work hard to have multiple, like I think 30, 40 cloning stations in place so that we can get through getting these copies to you within the next 2 to 3 months. Thanks again, and I will keep you informed. Thanks.